I really enjoy commissions that challenge me to grow or learn new techniques. This project is one just like that. Although it started with throwing a generic cylinder, it quickly became a sculpting challenge.
Mommy, my hands are dirty.
My hands are dirty. Why is that?
Carver loves watching me throw, and if he isn't leaning on my back or standing on the back of my chair, he's right beside me. Anyway, this commission was for the lovely Stephen Twydell from Temple Boy Turnings. He's a really talented wood turner, and I was so excited to make him a custom piece. It's based on his favorite phrase, "forkin' bananas." Before I even started to play in clay, I put pencil to paper and sketched 2 options for Steve. Not realizing when he said put a fork in it, he meant directly in the banana. So the final sketch, I showed how I thought this could actually work. The fork would be part of the handle sculpt. First I threw the vessel, and then I used the slab roller. The last video you saw that I upgraded to a rolling pin. After the rolling pin, I had a little bit of extra money, so I upgraded to a slab roller, which is going to make my life so much easier. Now my phone corrupted my actual banana sculpting work, so I had a video of the dry run that I did. Let me walk you through this. I know it's a little hard to see here. It wasn't my intention to share this part of the video. In my head, I broke the banana into parts. First I thought about the shape of the fruit. I made a solid shape that resembled this, then I hollowed it out. Hollowing it out makes the piece lighter and reduces the risks of not drying or having air bubbles that might cause it to explode in the kiln. Once it's hollowed, I glued it back together by slipping and scoring. Next, it was making the skin from the thin slab that I rolled out. So if you think about the banana peel, you want it to kind of peel back in sections, very similar to how an actual banana peels. I cut a shape that I duplicated 4 times. These made the sections of the peel. I had to work quickly with this because the thinner the slab, the quicker it dries and the more it's prone to cracking. I used this to my advantage too because I wanted some texture where the peel was pulled back and rolled over itself. Next was the hardest part. How did the handle attach, and what did the actual fork look like? The first issue I came up with was stabilizing the banana while I attached the thin fork shape. This meant I just used my sponge to kind of prop the bottom of the banana up. This allowed me to really get in there and attach the fork and get the length of the fork handle that I wanted. However, the fork itself wasn't thick enough to hold the handle, so I improvised by using the inside peel, and I just kind of attached it to the bottom of the fork and then attached the entire thing to the body of the vessel. This gave it enough of a thickness to kind of hold up that really heavy banana handle. Next was adding the fork prongs to the outside of the banana. It was pretty tedious, and I waited until the little pieces were just hard enough that they wouldn't distort too much when I started pushing them into the banana body. And finally, the fun part is carving the text out. It just says "forkin' bananas," and I put exclamation points on the sides just to break up some of that extra negative area that didn't have anything in it. For 1.5 weeks, this puppy sat before bisque fire. I wanted to be sure the banana was completely dry because even though I hollowed it out, it was still a bit thick. I did poke some holes into it under the skin or the peel to avoid it being, a bomb. A closed form has to have somewhere for the air to release. the air doesn't shrink, so in the heat, when the piece shrinks, the air needs somewhere to go. If not, you get a little bit of a boom. The change from greenware to bisque isn't overly dramatic. It changes color, shrinks a bit, and gets a little bit more stable. However, that doesn't mean it's not delicate.
It survived. Hooray! Hooray!
At this stage, I do a final cleanup and sand any burrs off that might scratch you, and I inspect the overall piece for cracking. Bisqueware has almost all of the water pushed out, so it's very thirsty. This makes it so when the body takes in the water of the glaze, it also pulls some of the minerals into the glaze. This helps the molten glaze fuse with the piece directly. There are some brave folks out there that do a single fire where they don't do a bisque fire in between and just glaze or use colored slip at the greenware stage. I'm not daring enough for that.
It's a fork?
What you doing?
I'm putting glaze.
Oh, one stick.
Hold on one sec.
What's that?
That's bright yellow.
I use mainly commercial glazes. Basically, I'm still learning. I get the chemistry and it's interesting to me, but I'm not quite ready to start formulating my own glaze mixtures or recipes, so to speak. Once I establish a consistent style or whatnot, it'll be cheaper for me to buy raw materials and mix batches by myself. Until then, I go to Standard Supply in Carnegie for dry glaze and get pints of glaze I might want to try that are pre-mixed and wet. So that would be like Mako or Amico, Laguna. Commercial glazes also have labeling to give you an idea of how to best apply and what its uses are for. So I'm looking for a food safe glaze when I'm glazing the inside of my pieces. That way I know that there's no leaching. Not using food safe on the outside isn't much of an issue. You just want to make sure that the inside is okay to avoid any kind of leaching of minerals into whatever beverage is in there. These glazes suggest 3 to 4 coats. I apply with a mop brush. It holds a decent amount of glaze and applies evenly. Someone on the Instagrams was mentioning that they kind of look like makeup brushes. When all the glaze application is done, then it gets put into a final fire. That is a cone 6 fire for this specific clay body. And then when it comes out, it's always exciting, but here it is, the fork and banana mug. If you guys have any questions about how I did something, or you are interested in seeing me do something new and you have a suggestion, please just let me know. Shoot me a message.